Welcome to Basket Talks new episode. In this episode, we are with Mery Andrade. Hello, coach. How are you?
I'm doing well, and you, Mir?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you for joining. Thank you for finding time for it. As we talked before the episode, you have a game today. Actually, I'm interested to know how is your game day like? What do you do in the game days? It's a home game, right?
Yes, so we play in the Boston Celtics today, and we had a game 2 days ago. Yesterday we had a good practice. Today, this morning, we didn't have shoot around. We're gonna have a late walkthrough, and the difference between shoot around and walkthrough, usually shoot around, you have about an hour, you get some shots up, you do breakdown, offense, defense. You go over the other team's 3-4 plays and the adjustments we want to do. And then for the guys that they are not in rotation, and the young guys, we have play groups for them to stay in shape. In a day like today that we have a late walkthrough, we watch film, we go on the court, we literally walk through the plays and see what are the adjustments that we want to do. After that, we go straight to the game warm-ups. It's a little bit different from Europe. In Europe, warm-ups is everybody's together. So in the NBA, in G League, you have every player has about 15 minutes with their player development coach. We have all scheduled until game time, and then when it's 30 minutes on the clock for the start of the game, everybody goes back to the locker room. We call them the reminders, the vitamins for the game, coverages, matchups, things that we have to be aware, like reminding where we have to be aware of their playing style. And then with around 22 on the clock, the coaches leave the locker room and the players go outside, I guess, the shots up, and then we start the game.
Yeah, it's pretty different from Europe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very different.
And it's always interesting for European players or basketball lovers like me to learn how NBA players work and then what they do in the game days. Because in Europe, for example, you played in the Europe too, and then you are very familiar with European basketball too. You were in Portugal, right?
I was born in Cape Verde, but I moved to Portugal when I was 4, and that's when I started playing basketball until high school, and then did college in US, Old Dominion University, then got drafted for the WNBA, and at the same time played in Italy. That's what I played most of my career, 15 years. And then after that started.
Yeah. You shared your journey a little bit, but can you share your journey from being a basketball player to becoming a coach, and then how that transition shaped your philosophy in basketball?
Yes, so like I told you, I got drafted for the Cleveland Rockers because the WNBA is just during the summer. So in the winter, I played in Italy, 15 years, 1 year in Portugal, and I also played for the national team. So towards the end of my career as a player, I remember I was in Lucca, so it was the season of 2010. Just came back from a knee injury. I had ACL, and the assistant coach got fired, and my coach at that time, Mirko Diamante, was looking for an assistant coach for 2 weeks, and then he comes to me and he told me, he's like, your teammates already respect you. I really think that you are going to be a coach. And I was like, no. and he told me, so I think this is a good experience for you to see if this is really what you want to do. So I did that. I was a player and an assistant coach for 2 years, and it was fun because I would play the other teams, and most of the teams, when they played against me, there was always a mismatch because I was a hybrid. I could play inside and I could play as a guard. So sometimes they have to cross match. So they will have like a stronger player, so I couldn't go play close to the basket. So of course the stronger player didn't know how to play outside. So sometimes, just to mess with their mental part of the game, I used to tell them what to do. I say, hey, now you have to cut, you have to do, and they look at me like I was crazy. And I knew that because being an assistant coach, I prepared the games with my coach. And so that was the way I found to mess with their heads. In 2015, for the second time, I had an invitation from a college to come to US, get back to US and become an assistant coach. The first college, it was in 2010, but I just had my knee surgery. I didn't want my career to finish on an injury, so I ended up playing 5 more years. And in 2015, I said yes to University of San Diego, and I ended up coaching for my former coach in college, Cindy Fisher. I was there 4 years, and that was on the women's side. And then in 2019, I heard about a program for former NBA, WNBA, and Globetrotters players called ACP program. So it's an NBA assistant coach program. I was part of that program. And for the first time, I coached a team of men. I had experience coaching men in the summer as a player development, but as an assistant coach, it was the first time, and as a head coach. So I did the PIT and the Combine in 2019. At the Combine, the Pelicans saw me there, and they invited me to join the organization. I was with the Pelicans organization for 4 years with the G League, and last year, I got invited to come with the new staff to Toronto and being part of the Toronto Raptors in the NBA. So that's pretty much my path to coaching. A lot of the things that I do as a coach, and of course, come from those experiences as a player, and that kind of shaped me, like the style of playing becomes also the style of coaching, like working on fundamentals, teamwork, being resilient, all the things that I think I am pretty much similar as a coach that I was as a player. Very intense, attention to details. I think that's part of my DNA.
Yeah, that's an amazing journey. As you said, you played in different countries, and then it means you played for different cultures. So how do you think cultural diversity influences the game of basketball?
More and more, the NBA is becoming a global event, right? Like the past 5 years, MVPs of the league are from different countries. Yeah. Coaching in different countries gives you a global perspective of the game. I think everybody knows that the European style is a little bit more fundamental, details, and the American style is crazy athleticism. And now you have the best league in the world combining both. So I think that diversity, and sometimes people take diversity as give diversity word a wrong quotation, and actually I think is a good thing. It's like putting together the best of both worlds, and understanding the different backgrounds. I think gives everybody a better understanding of how to communicate, coaches and players, players coach and the organization, because basketball now is a world sport. It's not just an American thing, it's not just an European thing. You have Asia, you have Africa with BAL, so is expanding, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, exactly. And now you said you worked with under 14 teams in the beginning of your career. Actually, I want to ask you, with all of your experience, what are the most crucial skills a young player should develop to succeed in professional basketball?
Definitely fundamentals. You have to be able. It doesn't matter. I can be the best coach in the world and have like the best plays in the world, but if you don't know how to pass, how to shoot, how to defend, how to be on the court with the other 5 players in spacing, if you don't know how to play with pace, I don't think you're going to be very successful, right? So the fundamentals of everything, and sometimes people mistake fundamentals with individual training. Yes, it's important because when you pass, you have to have the skill of pushing the ball, chest pass, bounce pass, all different kinds of passes, but it also has to be in a contest with other people. So that's why it's important to know how to play 3-on-3, 4-on-4, until you get to 5-on-5. I think the other thing that is a must for basketball players is their basketball IQ, right? Understanding the game and make smart decisions, being able to read and react with what the defense allows you to do, and not have a set a set mindset like, oh, I want to do this. No, you're going to do that if the defense allows you, but you have to know the game. You have to do it. And a lot of times that comes with repetition, allowing your body to do it in practice 1,000 times until you cannot get it wrong. So it looks better like in the game. So that's why I'm a firm believer that, especially in the young athletes, that you have to practice, because otherwise you don't have that experience. The other thing is mental toughness, right? Like I said, is like, don't get tired of doing the right thing, right? So sometimes, like if I ask a player to do 20 shots, and at the beginning we're just doing form, and he's getting the shots up and start making shots, and now after 10, they try to be cute, right? It's because I am making my shots, now I try to be Steph Curry, that I shoot like to the side. I said, no, don't get tired of doing the right thing. Like Steph Curry is Steph Curry because he has done the right thing 1,000 times. So now he has that. So you have the mental toughness that is not, I'm going to do it until I get it right. It's more of a mentality of, I'm going to do it until I cannot get it wrong, you know? The other thing is team culture. You know, if you want to be part of a winning culture, your mentality has to be team first. You know, basketball is a team sport, and you play with other 4 people at a time, and you have to be selfless. You know, can I go from a good shot to a great shot? I might have a good shot, but I have a teammate that has a greater shot. And I think that is sometimes hard for players, because of course everybody wants the glamour of, especially in our days, that you have social media, and if you get that shot, you're going to be in social media, you know? And sometimes you have to give a little piece of you for the good of the team. And when you do that, you build trust, you know, and I think a team that trusts each other and is accountable for everybody in doing the right thing is a team that's going to be successful. And the last thing I would say is having that passion for growth. You know, you're not going to become Michael Jordan like from when you touch the ball, right? So if today I get even 1% better than yesterday, I won that day. So it was a good day. Tomorrow, if I get better 1% more than today, I won that day. And when you look back and you are in tomorrow, when you look back, you got better 2% in 2 days. So if you keep piling up all that growth, I think you're going to have a pretty good career. You're not going to have regrets.
Yeah, amazing lessons. Thank you. Most of the players, I don't know if it's happening in the NBA, but they haven't struggled with confidence. How do you approach mentoring young players, particularly who may lack confidence or struggle with setbacks?
First of all, you have to have a plan that's personalized for the player. So back in the day, and even when I say back in the day because I'm old, when I played, you know, you go to practice, you have a practice, and everybody does the same thing. What is good? But I think if you have 1.5 hours or 2 hours practice, that it must be a chunk of the practice that is personalized for the players or for that position, okay? I'm a firm believer that all guards and posts and wings need to know how to dribble, pass, and all that. But if you have a chunk of practice that's dedicated to that player or to that position, and you're gonna work on the things that are your weaknesses right now, you are building the confidence, right? Because you are giving in personalized attention, and you are giving them feedback, right? So it's like, this is for you. So when you do that, as a former player, I like that. I like to know what I'm doing good, what I'm not doing so good, how can I get better? The other thing that helps with building confidence, in my opinion, is celebrating the small wins. Like I mentioned before, right? Today we got 1% better than yesterday. And that is a good thing. And growth is not linear. Is when you experience growth, rarely, I've never seen that growth is just like this. It's not linear. It's going to be this, and it's going to be this, and then it's going to go this again, and then it's going to go this, and then, so um, when he goes this, let's celebrate it, but let's not be satisfied, right? And by doing that, I think you showing the players that we working, and we believe in your talent and your potential, right? And as coaches, we want to maximize that potential. Of course, you're gonna have step backs, but that's part of the process, and that also gonna make you stronger mentally, physically, because step backs can be injuries. So that's gonna allow you to take care of your body, and not seeing that the step back is a failure. If you talk with elite players, they see failure as a motivation. So failure never ends up being a failure, a negative thing. Is always a motivation to get back to the drawing board and, okay, what do I have to do to get better? What I have to do in the summer? What I have to do if I have to get extra shots, if I have to take care of my body, if I have to focus on nutrition, mental health. So all the setbacks, there's always a lesson that you can learn from.
Yeah, it reminded me a quote. It was like, losses are lessons. If I'm correct, you have a foundation, right? You're going to train with the kids in the summers.
When I played, and this is when my playing experience comes to my coaching, there was not a lot of places that would offer training, right? After my season, I would take two weeks off, and then I had to start training. Not necessarily just basketball, but like I said, like, I'll take care of my body. So I was in the weight room. I'll try to do different sports, because before becoming a basketball player, I did soccer, volleyball, handball, everything, track. So I tried in my off season to go back to do some sports that, of course, would not injure or damage my my career, but I think that helped a lot. And that was the time that I was building my confidence too. So I was working on things that would make me better, so I could help the team during the year. It was hard to find people that did that with me. I was always very connected with the Portuguese young national team, so I would call my coach José Leite, and I'd be like, hey, I'm in Lisbon, what players are in the Lisbon area? And he would give me a list of players, and I would call them. And in a very serious voice, I was like, hi, this is Mery Andrade. Tomorrow we have practice at 9:30. I would not allow them to answer. I would just hang up. We have practice at 9:30 at this gym. And then I would get there and the players were there.
Yeah, they have to show up. Yeah, right.
Now I gave him an option. So I started enjoying that. And as the years passed by, those players start saying, hey, Mery, now they calling me, are we doing it again this year? I was like, sure, I'm going to be in Portugal, because like I said, like, I stopped playing the WNBA. So I started spending most of my time in Italy, between Italy and Portugal. So when I was in Portugal, they knew that we were going to practice. With that, I liked it so much. So I was like, I want to do camps. So I started doing with younger ages also, not just with national team or professional players. And the idea was to work on their skill and also to teach them a little bit what my path was. So what basketball can give you, right? Like, I think I never worked one day in my life, because when I was 14, this is what I was doing. I was doing basketball and no one paid me to do it. I did it because it was my passion, right? And that allowed me to get a free education, to travel the world, to be coaching now in one of the best leagues in the world, to be around amazing people, to be around and affect and impact different communities. So in our camps, we always talk about all that, because basketball is a sport, but also is a tool that can teach you lifetime values that you can use on and off the court.
Exactly, and it's amazing experience to learn from someone who experienced professional leagues or coached in professional leagues. My next question is something like this. So you are working with the Toronto Raptors in the NBA. What do you think separates elite coaches from the rest?
I think the elite traits with players and coaches, right, is the work ethic. That's a lot of work into it. As a player, I work hard. Like, you have a 2 hour practice, but my practice, it was not those 2 hours. I came an hour and a half before, I stayed an hour and a half later. So it took like a chunk of my day. And as a coach is the same thing, and even more, because I spend a lot of time in the gym, but then when I go home, my head keeps spinning. Basketball, basketball, basketball. Like, you don't stop. And that's why it's important for you to love this game. 82 game season. That's brutal, right? So you have to love what you do.
Yeah.
Have to love what you do. You have to be passionate about it. You have to be mental tough to go through it, and you have to be able to adapt. You see players. I have the fortune to work with the Pelicans in my first year with Herb Jones. Like, he came to the league and he was tagged as a defender, but now he's like, okay, can I sustain and be in the league as long as I can just being a defender? So he became a defender, but now he can shoot the ball. You hear stories and stories about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, how at the beginning of their career and throughout their career and to the end of their career, how different they were, right? You have to be able to adapt, because you're always learning. As a coach, is the same thing. Like, you play a game and you play the same team in a month, and you're not going to do the same things that you did a month ago, because you learn from that game. There are things that we call the post-game reports. We analyze the game, what worked, what didn't work, what we're going to do next, if we have suggestions for next game, and if there's anything else that we would have changed for that. You have to be ready, I think, the preparation, but also your ability to adapt to different situations.
They are like the same with your advice for young coaches who aspire to work in the professional league, like in the NBA, or you want to add something new?
Besides the work ethic and the passion about it, I mean, the preparation, be always prepared for the opportunity. You never know when the opportunity is going to come along, right? So study the game, have fun studying the game. Coach Scarioli, I had the chance to meet him 2 summers ago in Bologna, in Italy. And he always says, I'm not going to invent basketball. Like, everything that is to know about basketball is out there. But it's how you're going to get the lessons from another coach, because you're learning in clinics, camps, and how you're going to give your touch, how you're going to change that. Okay, this might work for them, but how can I use that and make it work for my team? Because I don't have those players. I don't have LeBrons and Scotty Barnes, and when you are in Europe, you don't have those kind of players. But what is the focus of what they want to do that I can still bring to my team and make it work with who I have? So that studying the game and professional development off season, I think, is very important for aspiring coaches, because I still do that. I don't think I have achieved where I want to go. So it's always a learning process. The other thing is networking, right? I was kind of shy at the beginning, I didn't want to bothering people, but when you are around so many great minds, the advantage of getting to know those people, this is a community that is big, but also at the same time is so small. You should stay in touch. I think that will help you learn more. Like, sometimes in practice, Coach Darko does a great job of we had a lot of coaches coming to our practice and watch, and we're going to have next week clinic for coaches. There is like hundreds of coaches that are going to come to open practice, and we're going to break down some drills, and we're going to talk about and get questions. So if you have the opportunity to be in this kind of setups and have this kind of experience as aspiring coaches, or even coaches that you start in your career, I think is a great opportunity that you have to keep pushing to be a part of it.
And thank you for your time, and thank you for answering all the questions, and thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mir. Anytime. If you ever need anything, you have my contact. Let me know.
Thank you.